Now it's snowing again. Oh, it stopped. It's insane weather. Anyway, I meant to say too, from time to time I'll get an email from somebody who seems respectful but upset that their horse didn't make it onto the top 10 list or didn't make it into talking, happily about them. Here's the thing. So perfect example. We didn't talk about Rose Run Why Not for a while. I've always told you she's doing her work good, relax, it's great. And a lot of people that own Rose Run Why Not are like, Anthony, can you go with her? I understand you want to see your horses the best, right? You want to be number one at a 63. But it only matters at the races, right? The one thing you guys have to understand is you get to see everything, right? Think about it. For those of you who owned horses before, you had a horse with a guy who was training at a place. And you may get out to see it, you may not all the time. And if you don't get out to see it, you don't get any videos of it. You don't get any, updates right there. And if you call and ask, you may or may not get a phone call. But when you call, it's like, yeah, the horse went good. Yeah, I did this or I did that. And you hang up the phone, you're like, I didn't see the horse go. Did he really go that good? You don't know. You guys see everything. And that's good, but it's bad too in the sense that if you don't see a horse train good, it must not have, right? And that's a case like Rose Run Why Not. Danny did an exceptional job getting this filly ready to go. And I kept telling you, just relax. It's not the end of the world. She'll go. I put her in gear the other day. And for that time period, for that 3/8 of a mile, I was on the front end. I don't think there was a horse in the training center that could come to me and pass me at that point. That's how good that filly was for 3/8 of a mile. And for those of you out there waiting to hear that, it was never in doubt to me that you would hear that at some point. I know you didn't see it. I know you didn't see it with your own eyes, so it really wasn't true. But I knew that there was talent there. It was only a matter of turning the filly on, right? And Danny's job isn't to go out there and let her rock. Danny's job is to go out there and teach her to be a good horse. And this is why, every trainer, you guys ask me all the time, who's getting this horse? Who's getting that horse? I try to match every horse tailored to every trainer, right? There's a reason I do that. That's why Kevin has the horses he has. Harry has the horses he has. Danny had the horses he has. Mario, James, and so on and so on. It isn't a lottery. I didn't draw it out of a hat. And if I think that there's a trainer who's not getting along with the horse, I'll move the horse. Danny had Tipsy and Dixie for a while and moved him because we were short a groom and Harry needed a couple of horses. It's just simple math. But Harry got along with Tipsy and Dixie. And I know, perfect example, Tipsy and Dixie. She was so good for so long, but I was letting her rock a number of times, right? We were racing her. We were putting her in gear. Harry's protecting her. He knows she can do everything. He doesn't need to see her race yet. And I know that there's a lot of people out there saying, why don't you talk enough? But in turn, I can't come on here and gush about Rose Run Why Not? Because I've no supporting evidence other than my gut feeling how good she is until you see it. You didn't get to see it the other day. Same with Tipsy and Dixie. I can't come on here and say she's the best by far and this is a beautiful filly because I can't show it to you yet. That doesn't mean that she isn't. And I think that's very, very important for those of you out there saying, why isn't my horse on the top 10 list? And, how come you don't like my horse? We have 63. Do the math. If I have to jam 10 horses into a top 10 list, that's 53 that didn't make it. That doesn't mean that your horse isn't good. And Rose Run Why Not hasn't been in the top 10 list maybe once or twice forever. And she felt like the top of the top 10 list the other day. So I compiled 2 lists. I compiled a list of horses that I believe, in my heart, you haven't seen it yet, but in my heart, these horses will spring forward over the next month, 5-6 weeks. So one horse on this list, I've told everybody August. That's when I think this horse will peak. August. Maybe a little before, but somewhere around August. I also have this horse paid into everything. So, again, that was by design, right? Way back when we started making payments, I'm looking at the horse. This horse is going to be a giant. He has a ton of muscle to put on, a ton of weight to put on. He's got time, but not a ton of time to do it. So why don't we give him some more? Why don't we pay him into some heavier stakes later on and allow him to be the horse that I think he could be? Now, that is tough. To try and extrapolate talent levels in January for next October is difficult. I could be way off. He could be an okay, ordinary horse and absolutely not fit those stakes. But I might not be. So I'm going to give you a top 10 list of horses to watch. Now, this list was well over 20 horses 45 minutes ago. I chopped it all up down to 10. So please, for the love of God, if you don't hear your horse's name, it's not the end of the world. If I had an issue with any horse, you would have known it, right? If I really had an issue with a horse, it would have been sold, like the ones we sold in January. Or the one I gave away last month. I gave away around midnight. So if I had an issue with any of your horses, you would know. But having said that, there are some horses that have a lot to do, right? They have a lot of work to do. And I'm going to give you that. When we talk about the 2-year-olds today, I'm going to give you a little more lip service. I'm going to tell you what I like about your horse and potentially what I don't like about your horse right now. If there was any searing, real problems with these horses, you would know it. So there's no reason why a horse... Listen, if we did the math, I think... and I'm only using this filly because she was so impressive just 72 hours ago. But if Rose Run Why Not was down, where was she down over the last month? 40-some, right? She was easy in the top 3 this week and probably number 1. I don't care. I don't think a horse in our training center looked as good as she looked on Thursday. So here's a list, 10 horses, I believe. Now, in fairness, this isn't just driven by sales because there's a couple of horses on here that don't have shares left. I apologize, but I'm certainly not going to take them out. They belong on this list. So 10 horses you should probably keep your eye on. Number 10, No Free Lunch. This is a horse that I've gone with. Well, that wasn't wise. This is a horse that I've gone with once, maybe twice, ever. And Danny always told me he really liked this horse. That works. He really likes this horse. But I never really got a chance to look at him. Now, we changed his shoes today, so we haven't trained him as yet. But the other day, he exploded with the last half in 105, last quarter in 32 seconds, and looked great. Doesn't wear a pole, doesn't wear a boot, wears nothing. A harness and a set of hobbles and a bridle, that's it. No Free Lunch, looked good. Is he there yet? No. And what I mean by there is, can I turn him on in the blink of a dime, and will he carry his speed until he gets tired? No, not there yet. Put him in gear, he hesitated, he took off, and then once he got up into top gear, then he carried it for quite a while. But that hesitation, that little shudder in his transmission needs to come out, and we'll work on that. But speed doesn't appear to be an issue. No Free Lunch was real good this week in training. Danny and I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Danny said to me, he goes, does he look off a little right front to you? Jogging around, he looked fine. Training, I thought he looked fine. I see what he saw the other day now when I put him in gear, finishing up his mile, and he was going racehorse speed going under the wire. We got to the turn, and I could feel him. He didn't box his gate up, but he kind of hesitated a step and ran out, and then he ducked in a little bit, and he seemed like he was a little off right front. Not lame. I would barely call it soreness, and he didn't exhibit any signs that could have been him getting close to his quarters, crossfiring for all I know. So I let his hobbles out. We put a lighter set of hobbles on him and put a set of flip-flops on him up front to help him if it was a little bit of tenderness in his knees or his feet. So I believe you'll see a much better looking No Free Lunch. Now, we did let his hobbles out. I'm going to try and go with him Wednesday, but if I don't get a chance to go with them, I need to tell the person that's going with them, hey, those hobbles are let out 1.5 inches. Be careful. So No Free Lunch, extremely happy with him this week. Number 9, where are you at? Number 9, My Jazz. She has no shares left. My Jazz has looked great. I went with her the other day, and James got a little mad at me after the wire. I tapped her on the tail to go forward, and she didn't, and I hit her a swat. She went forward and then hung a bit, and I give her another little swat. She took off. He's like, you shouldn't rough her up. And I said, well, he said she doesn't like to train like that. I don't give a shit how she likes to train. She needs to train because you're not going to be able to race her. It's not like I can say, okay, guys, the other drivers in the race, all right, this is how my horse likes to go so it can win. I'd like to get away 5th, be second over, and attack down the lane so I can win. It doesn't work that way. It's a real world. She's going to be first over sometime. She's going to be on the front sometime. So My Jazz, I don't really care how she likes to train. She needs to do her work properly the way she's has to do it. So she was really good training. James is a little upset, but James and I don't always see eye to eye, right? And when it comes right down to it, James is very conservative, and I'm of the belief that the first time they step on the track, the first time there's a program printed and our horses' names are in it, my name comes out as driver, and there's money at the top that we're racing for, it's go time. There's no, it used to be in the old days, give them a few starts to learn, and then, we'll get, no, not at all. I will teach them before they get to the track so that we have the smartest horses. Because if nothing else, for sure, the first few stakes of the year, it isn't the fastest, the best bred, the most expensive horses that wins the races. It's the smartest horses that win the races. So we're going to take full advantage of that. Our horses are generally and usually, one, ready to go, two, very, very smart, intelligent, and well-informed animals. So my Jazz trained good this week. Very happy with her. A horse that may not have made it onto the list only for the trip I went with her today was Mama Knows Best. Now, Mama Knows Best spent time on the top 10 list all year. Very good. Kind of fell by the wayside, right? She was making breaks, and, I said to Jason one day, now it's sunny again. I said to Jason one day, Mama Knows Best, what's the scoop there? What's going on? Nothing. I just, she's not trotting that last turn good, so I just took her back. What? I need to know why she's not trotting that last turn. This is a half-mile track. There's 4 turns on every one of them. She needs to trot every turn very good, considering half her stakes are on half-mile tracks. So I went with her the other day. I thought she was good off the gate. I was happy with her. Went to go with her today. She was acting up and wouldn't do her work well. She actually looked a little off right hind. I went in, put toe weights on her, took the boots off her, put bandages on her, put a brain cord on her, got her head down a little bit, took the head poles off her, just put a line pole and Murphy blind. Went back out and trained in 18 last quarter in 33 seconds, and she looked very, very good. I didn't really ever get to go with Mama Knows Best when she really looked impressive. When James had her on the top barn and Disco went with her sometimes, and she actually looked like a legit filly, I didn't get to go with her, right? I just got to hear reports and see with my own eyes, same as you guys did. And she hasn't been great. Now, a couple of times Jason went big last half, so she looked fine. But did she look versatile? Did she look like I could leave and put her on the front or race her from off the pace if I wanted to? No, she wasn't there yet. So when I went with her today, last trip, infinitely different horse than I saw just 15 minutes before. And that is the difference between some of the equipment. And people don't get that, right? People think there's not that big a difference between boots and bandages. Not that big a difference between a pair of bell boots and toe weights. There is a huge difference sometimes with horses, and the difference between somebody knowing what they know, somebody looking like a professional trainer that knows what they're doing and somebody not, is that. It's not that Jason isn't. Jason does a fantastic job, but that small little intricate part of changing here and there, and this wasn't me coming into Jason Barrett saying, okay, let's get this fixed up here. This was throughout conversations with Jason and I. What about this? Why don't we try this? It's good because Jason knows, Jason's seen enough of these babies now. And this is the other thing, is that if you don't train a lot of babies, sometimes you can go by the weight, you can get lost, right? Well, let's try this or let's try that. Or now 15 minutes turns into 3 weeks of changing equipment little by little by little, being able to look at the horse's gait, look at what the horse is doing, talking to Jason or any of the other trainers, and then discussing what we believe needs to happen. A lot of the times we've seen these before, we've seen these situations before, and we know how to rectify them. So that 15 minutes it took to change Mama Knows Best from me being angry and her not trotting right, when I say 15, it's probably 30. But when you take that time, change the gear, go out, and she's a totally different horse and looks amazing. That's something that might take a couple more weeks for a smaller operation or somebody that maybe just doesn't train enough babies. It helps that I've had enough Uncle Peters that I know, same as Jason, we both had enough of them to know what their weaknesses and strengths are and where to maybe look. That always comes out also. So the fact that we've had a lot of these horses, a lot of horses with that gait, a lot of horses with that type of temperament, that we know where the lines are. The lines. The list of things we can do is much shorter. So Mama Knows Best was absolutely outstanding today. The last time I went with her, she was very, very good. Coming in at number 7, where are you at? Number 7, Fox Valley Brettski. He likely could have made it onto the top 10 list, but Brettski, I looked at who was sitting in 15th, and it was a toss up. So I said, you know what? Fox Valley Brettski has been very, 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 very good the last 4 or 5 weeks. This is a horse that I categorized to Danny as a stake horse in 2020. Italian Grit, I believe now is, for Mark out there, Mark Adams, I believe Italian Grit is. I believe Fox Valley Brettski is. And I believe That's My Girl is. I believe we have 3 sire stake horses in Indiana right now. For those of you who own Jesse Balboa with me, don't be upset. He's just not there yet. He has lots of time. Same as Carry a Big Stick. Carry a Big Stick is trying his hardest to get it proper. He has his good days and he has his bad days. And every time he has a bad day and we can correct the mistakes on the bad day, he'll have many more good days in the future. So hopefully we'll get to a point where there is no more bad days. There's just Carry a Big Stick and his most confident, quickest form. So there's that. And then, so we have the 3 stake horses and 2 horses hopefully on their way. Fox Valley Brettski is strong. I trotted, when I went with him last time I went with him, he tried the last half of 104. That's before we really pushed him. That was a big half that day. And he does it flawlessly. Now he's, remember how I called him the little troll forever, how ignorant and stubborn he was. Better and better and better every week. Very, very happy with what I've seen for him. James has done a great job. James and Steve have done a great job with Fox Valley Brettski. Number 6, Bramer. Bramer, I believe, will end up on the big list at some point. This is the horse at the outset I was telling you. I thought August 1st, you're going to see the best form of Bramer you've ever seen. Horses have stepped away from him in the last quarter. This is a big colt with a big, big, long gait. And I think once he pounds more muscle onto his back end, starts getting a little confidence. Another horse, a little stubborn, can be a little stupid sometimes. But when he gets it, and he will get it, he will be some kind of nice horse. That's my projection. That's my prediction. And I believe Braemar could have been on the other list. But again, when I look at number 15 and it belongs there, I got to put him on this list. Number 6, Braemar, impressive to date. I don't think he's ever made a break and has looked fantastic. He's straight now. He's getting stronger and bigger. I get to see him all the time. I said to James the other day, this horse looks really, really good. He looks huge. Number 6, Braemar. Number 5, Tipsy and Dixie. She just fell off the other list simply because I couldn't put her on ahead of the horse in 15th on the other list. Tipsy and Dixie has been lights out since when? January? Before that? Ever since we put the hobbles on her, she gets better and better and better and better. She was great on the gate. She did everything awesome. So Harry's done a great job with Tipsy and Dixie. She comes in at number 5. I really don't have to say much about her because I'm used to talking about her every week. She's on our list every week. Number 5, Tipsy in Dixie. Where are you at, number 4? Number 4, Broadway Roll. Broadway Roll, another horse. All these horses could have ended up on the top 10 list for the top list for the most part. Broadway Roll was awesome the other day. I said to Mario got away in behind me. I forget who I had in the front, but I knew he was right behind me. And we got to that lane. He moved her over, and she just inhaled the horse I had. I think I had a trotter, though. She blew past me, drove away, wrapped up going under the wire. And Mario said to me, pulling up, he said, holy Jesus, you're going to make some money with this thing. What a nice filly this is. And I said, I know, but for those of you out there that remember 2 weeks ago when I moved her like 14 times and she was tired, and then I put her on the front and she won easily after that, it's all about building the horses up too, right? I don't need Broadway Roll to look good in that manufactured way. Sit in the 2-hole, move over, and pace hard, little filly, down the lane. Real life doesn't really act like that, right? And what I need her to do is act like that when she gets a trip like that. Some days you're going to be first over. Some days you're going to be locked in. Some days you're going to have to move a couple of times. But that day she got to sit in behind me, she looked like an aged mare. So Broadway Roll, very, very good in training this week. Number 3, where are you at? Number 3, Northern Blizzard. This is a very erratic colt. He's made breaks, but he has got some kind of kick to him. Man, he can trot. When I went with him the other day, I put him on the front. Now, James, you went with James the other day, and James said the only time he's not awesome is when he's switching gears. When you're sitting in a hole, when you're backing him up, he feels a little iffy. And I said, you're 100% right. That's exactly how to put it. That's what we have to work on, right? Sitting on a hole, backing him into holes, having him relax and sit quietly. These are the things we have to work on with Northern Blizzard, but you don't have to work on speed or high gear because he's got both. And it's not that he's goofy or crazy, just needs to learn. And I think now's the time to show him. Northern Blizzard, I put him on the front the other day and absolutely jogged. And he is a very, very fast, very talented colt. Northern Blizzard, I believe we have an extremely strong contingent in Ontario, contingent, a large group for Ontario, right? The ones that I'm just thinking of now, we have 4 pacing colts that I think are very, very good horses. Can't think of the fillies, but when you look at the other horses, trotting colts, we have Walk on the Moon. We have Northern Blizzard on the trotting side for sure. On the filly side, we've War We Welcome, Tipsy and Dixie, Can't Muscle Me. Those are 3. I know we have other ones. I mean, we had a lot of really, really, really nice horses. So, when I look at Northern Blizzard, I see a horse. Yeah, he can make breaks. Hopefully, we can. When we get a lot more confidence on him, you'll be able to drive him any way you want. But when he's on his game, when he comes to play, very few horses in this training center can trot with him. He is just a very, very nice horse. Now, the top 2 horses are horses I went with the other day. I told everybody that Adrenaline Rush trained good the other day. Adrenaline Rush is a horse that he's lazy from the start. We had to chase him and chase him and chase him. And then he'd follow, move him once, follow, and he'd finish up good. I put him on the front the other day. Someplace he's not the most comfortable being, right? As James put it, and he's right, he's better following. He's better off a helmet. But I'm not here to make things easier for Adrenaline Rush or anybody else. I put him on the front where he is uncomfortable. And I went 3 laps on the front end. And when we got halfway down the backstretch, the last half, I let him roll. We ended up coming last half in like 103 in the jog cart, 103 in a bit, James said, and Kevin seconded it. And he was very strong. Now, I did cross the lines over and hit him a swat halfway down the lane. James said, "You're coming a half and a 3 in a bit. Why would you hit him a swat?" Hanging is still hanging, right? And it maybe sounds silly, but I don't want him pausing, right? And we saw this with Philly Fringes when she got beat the other day. It doesn't matter whether you're up by 5 lengths or not. I'll wrap you up, right? You don't wrap yourself up. And that's what I wanted to make a point to Adrenaline Rush. When you feel that your things are in hand and you're a winner, I'll be the one to let you know when you're a winner, not you. Because what happens is when you're late in a long 1.5 miles like that and horses are coming to you, you just don't have the stamina, right? You're going to get beat. If you start at any point in the mile, if you aren't looking for the winner's circle, you will never find it. And I want all our horses to know that. And I know, James is always, as I said, James is always a belief, take them back, come a big last quarter. My father loves that too, right? Those big last quarters. I could care less. I want to get to the winner's circle. I want to win races. And every week that you aren't trying to win is a wasted week, in my opinion. And that's coming back from when I was a driver, and I was never a great driver, but I was a driver that went out to win every week. I was a driver that came to play every single race, and a driver that would never, just run them up the wood unless I was asked or the horse was coming off a layoff. Or if I drove a horse, I tried my best to put him in a position to win every single week. And that's important. We're not talking about gambling or anything else. It's important for me and it's important for the horses. And I want all our horses to be able to win whenever they can. But come to play. And if Adrenaline Rush is coming a big last half and down by the wire, I feel him let go, I'm not going to be okay with that. And I wasn't okay with it the other day. And I could care less if he's uncomfortable on the front end or not. He's here. He was uncomfortable last Wednesday, so he won't be uncomfortable when we put him on the front in a stake race some night. That's how I feel, right? I believe that if you want to be a better athlete, then you have to take the things you're not good at and work on them. If you're a basketball player, you do layups, you do free throws, you do three-pointers, and if you're lagging in one, you do more. Simple as that. Doesn't matter whether it's golf, hockey, football, baseball, basketball. It doesn't matter. You need to work on your weaker points. And that's what I try to do with all the horses. So Adrenaline Rush couldn't have been any more impressive. He was in a position he was never in. He was uncomfortable. But when I called on him, it was game on. And that's what I wanted to see. Adrenaline Rush comes in at number 2. After saying that, you'd be like, Anthony, who could possibly be at number 1? Italian Grit. Here's a horse we never talk about ever that much. He's had a bad attitude, a horse we castrated. Really just didn't strike me. I was concerned that he wasn't even a good horse. Don't worry about a stake horse. I was concerned he wasn't even a good horse. And Mark and I had talked about this. So many of you know that Winterwood Farms, we bought some horses from Winterwood. And as you would assume, at some point, we've built a rapport, a friendship somewhat. Mark does a fantastic job. We turn our horses out in Ohio at his farm. Him and his father and his wife, they just do an absolutely spectacular job. And he had sent Italian Grit. Now, the deal was he wanted to keep a quarter of them. I kept 3/4 of them. And when we broke them, I didn't like him. You know, I didn't like his attitude. I didn't like anything about him. Not to mention, you're going to Indiana. You better be able to dance. Remember, the last time we had good luck in Indiana was Swandre the Giant. That was the only luck we had in Indiana. So it's no little, this isn't a little bull ring track. This is a big 7/8 mile track with very good horsemen and very good drivers, and they come to play. So I'm thinking to myself, is this a stake horse? I probably had in my mind that he was just an overnight horse, and he may never even make it to Indiana. He may stay right here in Ontario. And just over the last 2 weeks, he looked better, and then better, and then better. And I moved him 3 times. Left with him, removed him. I think I moved him 3 times in the mile the other day. Come a last half in 104 and 3 in the jog cart, and he hit a bow in his neck. Going under the wire, I had him wrapped up going under the wire, and that was impressive, right? And those are the things that jump off the track, the page, if you will, to me. The horses that you didn't see that coming. Rose Run Why Not the other day. I've talked about her for 3 days now, just because she was so good the other day. She hasn't been good all year, like Beef and Cheddar or Eternity Road. These horses are good every week. Italian Grit was never good. Made breaks. We were always, there's something there. Before he made that break, he looked good. Or after he made that break, he looked good. But he could just never put it all together. Mario went with him today. Eternity Road, Argento, and Italian Grit. We come out of the last turn, and Mario's picking at him. And I come charging out of the hole with Argento. And James is on the outside flying with Eternity Road. You guys know how quick Eternity Road can finish. It was windy. It was just starting to hail. Just a blast from February in the middle of May. And I think he hung on. And if he didn't, he was just beat. I didn't beat him. James might have. But James was set back. He greased me going under the wire, and Argento got out of gear. Didn't run, though. So, a great training mile today, but an impressive mile. I like that today was the follow-up from Wednesday. How's he going to be today? He worked hard on Wednesday. How's he going to be today? And he was awesome. So, a great job from Ron, who takes care of him. Mario, who's over on Mario's side. Just looked fantastic. When I went with him the other day, he was awesome, and he looked great today. Italian Grit was very, very good. Number 1 in my top 10 list of horses to watch. So we'll run through them quick again. Number 10, No Free Lunch. Number 9, My Jazz. Number 8, Mama Knows Best. Number 7, Fox Valley Brettski. Look at the Indiana horses. Fox Valley Brettski at number 7. Number 6, Braemar. Number 5, Tipsy and Dixie. Number 4, Broadway Roll. Number 3, Northern Blizzard. Number 2, Adrenaline Rush. And number 1 overall in my list of horses to keep your eye on is Italian Grit. Anyway, 28 minutes of 10 horses. Who knows how long 15 is going to go. I'll be back in a minute with 15 horses that I think are our 15 horses overall. And as we speak, obviously, as I always say, consistency, right, plays a big role. Speed, are the horses coming forward every week over the last little while? These are things that'll get you on this list. You have a pretty good idea of the top. The reoffenders are still reoffending, so to speak. The top of the group still the top of the group. But you start to see people creep up, and everybody on that top 10 list I just gave you, any of them can find their way onto this list at any point. So it's going to be a dogfight. I guess not literally, but a dogfight. Maybe not the best choice of words, but a dogfight between here and qualifying day, whenever that might be. For those who own the 2-year-olds out there, I highly doubt any 2-year-old staking jurisdiction will have any interruptions due to COVID-19. So that's good. For the 3-year-olds, we're working on them, keeping them sharp, and we are ready to go whenever they say they are. So that is the top 10 list. We'll be back in just a minute. I got 15 horses for you, the top 15 horses in our stable right now, in my mind.